Hello, friends. I had been hoping to come on here and say I have a good feeling about May, but you know what? I don't. In fact, I have the same sense of dread for the future that I always have about everything about May. So it would be a lie to say that I have a good feeling about May. I don't know what May will bring, and I could say we will try our best, but is that even true? What even is my best? I don't know. Does anybody else feel like they burned out completely 8 or 10 years ago and then never recovered? Is that just me? Okay, good. So I don't know if I will be trying my best in May, but May is a coming, and whatever it brings, we will get through. Somehow, some way, we will get through the month of May. I made a poem. So you may think that this is me being gentle on myself, and maybe it is. My plan had been to finish draft 2 of this young adult fantasy that I call my magical mystery by the end of May. However, I only wrote 3 days in April, so that's not good. But for some reason, today I want to try to complete scene 29. That's the scene I've been working on, and it seems a little outlandish to think I'll just suddenly be able to complete the scene today, and yet, for some reason, that is my goal today, somehow. So, yesterday I thought to myself, I want to try not giving in to my distractions, because I learned when I was in the country with my grandma that my distractions keep me from feeling the dread, somewhat. They dull the dread, but they also keep me from being productive at all. And so I was thinking, if I avoid my distractions when I'm at home, if I practice writing, not distracting myself, somehow experiencing the dread and not getting paralyzed, then I would be able to get more work done. But the problem is, when I feel the dread for the future, a lot of it, it has to do with many things, but part of it has to do with me feeling like my writing is never going to be good enough, the book's never going to be good enough, no one's ever going to want to read it, and then I get scared to write it because I'm just afraid to see the reflection of that badness, so I don't write. And that's a challenging way to write a book. And so yesterday I tried this goal, this plan of not giving into my distractions. I didn't let myself go on YouTube or social media at all yesterday, and I didn't get very much done because instead my brain said, "Oh, you're not gonna let me be distracted? How about we just go to sleep?" And so I was dog tired yesterday. I could barely keep my eyes open. I was struggling massively because I truly think it was because I was incapable of sitting with the dread. And instead of being able to write through the dread, my brain just gave up and went to sleep. So somehow we are trying that again today. My hope is that when I start feeling that extreme tiredness, I'll be able to get up and stretch or something and get around the extreme tiredness to be able to actually be productive and somehow be able to write through the dread. Because even if I'm able to not let myself be distracted, I'm not sure how that's supposed to translate into me being able to write through the dread, if I don't distract myself from the dread, then the dread's just on me. And somehow I'm supposed to be able to not get completely paralyzed and be able to write through that. We're not sure how it's going to go, and yet somehow I have the goal of it being miraculously wonderful today and being able to complete scene 29, even though I've barely just begun writing the portion of scene 29 that has to be written new from scratch. So there's that. Also, when I started scene 29, what I've been working on is kind of transitioning the setting into what it needs to be, but I didn't begin that transition until midway through the scene. So that's why I was talking about in my last video that this scene is going to need several passes, because in my first pass, I didn't completely change the setting in the beginning of the scene. I just let the scene begin so that I wouldn't get too scared, and so the scene kind of just really awkwardly becomes the setting it needs to become, and the beginning is still in the wrong setting. So that's gonna have to change, and maybe that could be my in into the scene. Instead of trying to just immediately start writing the stuff that needs to be written new from scratch, I could go back in and try to fix up the beginning of the scene so that the setting makes sense. I don't know, but we're gonna try. Alright, so I have now started writing for the day. It's not going well. It never goes well. But I have started. I don't think I said before that one of the things I told myself was, instead of allowing myself to be distracted by social media, when I get distracted from writing, I am allowed to read. So that's kind of what I'm allowed to be doing today, is either writing or reading. And then later, hopefully, I will walk my 2 miles on the treadmill. And during that time, yesterday, I let myself watch YouTube videos, except I only let myself watch writing craft videos. So that's hopefully going to be my rule again for the day. So far in the scene, all I have done is sort of think up, I've written like, I don't know, a small paragraph, and I've thought up some way to perhaps organize the half of the scene that is not yet written, which is good. I'm feeling concerned. I'm always feeling concerned about the writing, but it's possible that it is going to actually end up being a substantially long portion of the scene that is not yet written. Last time, in my last video, I was thinking maybe I could incorporate the part of the scene that's not yet written into the part that is written, so that it wouldn't be much longer than like 2,500 words, but it could end up being, 4,000 or 5,000 words, because I have now thought of a way to organize that information in this second half of the scene, and that will need to be completely rewritten new, because it doesn't work in the half of the scene that is written. So I don't know if that makes sense, but that's what I've been working. So I have now written approximately 2 more paragraphs. I'm obviously still working on the part of the scene that does not yet exist, so that's good. I haven't been letting myself watch YouTube, which is good. I have done a little bit of scrolling on Pinterest, which is less good. But I'm having a very hard time just staying focused, and I have to believe that the more days that I do this challenge, the easier it will get. I have to believe that, or else all is lost. I've also just been getting up and like walking around a lot. I haven't yet gotten that severe exhaustion that I had yesterday, but I have been getting up like, I don't know, every minute and a half to walk around and just avoid it. Friday. I was looking at my outline though. After I finish scene 29, which is what I'm working on, there will be 26 scenes left to the end of the document, because there's 55 scenes. 15 of those scenes will have to be written new from scratch, mainly like the last 15 scenes in the story. There were a couple of scenes that I like partially brought over from draft 1, but majority of those final 15 scenes will need to be written new from scratch. And then also there's the 5 scenes at the start of the story that I skipped for draft 2, because I like to write the start of the story after I've written the rest of the story. 2 of those scenes exist currently in some form. 3 of them will have to be written new from scratch. So all of that math means that I have 26 plus 5 is 31 scenes left in draft 2 after I finish the scene I'm currently working on. 15 plus 3, 18 of those scenes will have to be written new from scratch, which is a lot. And also, there's 31 scenes left. That means even after I finish scene 29, I'm not even halfway done with the draft 2. Perhaps that was math I did not want to do. Oh dear. I have now added about 500 words total today to the scene, and there's still 2 more things that need to happen in the scene before the scene can end. I'm not sure how many words those are going to end up being, but that's where we are. Nothing I'm writing feels good, but I have to just keep hoping that in a few weeks or months, or whenever I come back through for draft 3, it will suddenly feel good and not like the horrific forced nature of the writing that it currently feels like. That seems unlikely, but that is my goal and my hope. That's the only thing kind of keeping me moving at the moment. I'm not letting myself go back and read what I've written, and I just keep telling myself in the future, magically somehow, it will stop feeling so forced and it will feel good again when I come back and read this at some point in the future. Okay, so I've just finished adding one of the 2 things that need to still happen in this scene in order for it to be done. The second thing that I need to add is going to be, I think, more substantial, and I'm not entirely sure all of what it needs to be. So I'm feeling stuck about that. I'm also just feeling like this is moving at just an absolute snail's pace, and none of the writing feels good, and I'm not sure how I'm feeling. But I think I'm going to take a reading break now in hopes that when I come back from reading, I'll be able to better tackle the remaining section of this scene, or like perhaps get some kind of idea about like what precisely needs to be in that portion of the scene. I know like a broad idea of what it needs to be, but I don't know like specifics. And I've been staring at the screen and nothing is happening and I'm getting distracted and tired and I want to stop and revert to my distractions of social media, but I'm not gonna let myself. I'm gonna read and hopefully feel better. Okay, so I did try reading, but I was just way too fidgety and antsy and distracted for that to work. So then I thought, well, maybe I'll try walking my 2 miles on the treadmill, which I have been trying to get back into. And yesterday when I did that, I only let myself watch writing craft videos, but today I was not in the mood. So I did not watch any writing craft videos, and I instead just watched like fun videos on YouTube, which was not the goal, but hopefully that can like get it out of my system a little bit and I can begin focusing again on the writing, because all that's left to do now is write the event that's left in this scene that still needs to happen. I don't know how substantial it's gonna be. I don't know. I'm concerned and I'm putting it off, even though that's literally the only part of the scene that is left to write. For some reason, the longer I've been writing today, the more resistance I've been feeling. And I have to believe that's just because this is only my second day trying this, and that like the more I do this, the more I practice not giving in to the distraction of social media, the easier it will be to write. I don't know, I'm hoping like the better I'll feel about the writing after a while of practicing this, because right now I feel terrible about the writing, and I'm sure that's why my resistance to writing is so high. But I'm also concerned because recently I saw this quote from some famous writer online. I don't know who it was, but they said something about how if writing is really hard for you, then maybe you're not a writer. And that made me a little bit sad. But it's also kind of what made me want to start trying to push through the resistance to get to a point where writing feels easier to me again, because I want to be. And like maybe they're wrong, and maybe I just have a whole bunch of mental stuff going on, and that's why the writing is so hard, and not that it's just hard because I'm wasting my life pursuing something that I'm not supposed to be doing, or that I'm never going to be good at, or something. I don't know, it's a lot to think about, and I'm just trying not to think about it. But I'm feeling a massive amount of resistance, and the more I write today, the more resistance I feel. And I'm hoping that goes away. The only way to hope and see if it goes away is to just keep doing this, day after day as much as I can. So all that's left to do now is write that portion of the scene that's left. I know I should sit down and do it right now, but I don't want to. And I also don't want to read, and I already walked my 2 miles, so like, what is there left to do? So I have now added 373 words. I'm just picking away at this scene, and I want to take a break. Okay, I may have taken a little break and watched a couple of YouTube videos that have nothing to do with writing. But you can't expect me to be perfect on the first day of trying this, even though this is technically my second day of trying this. And technically, I spent all of last week out of town and away from my distractions and was forced to try this. But still, I do still think I can finish this scene if I can make myself sit down and actually do it. I'm struggling slightly because I've reached like the culmination point of this final part of the scene, and I'm not like 100% sure what precisely needs to happen here. So that's a problem. I'm also now feeling extremely tired, and I can't tell if it's just regular tired now the day's winding down, or if it's that tiredness that I fought with yesterday that's like, if you're not going to let me avoid the dread via distraction, we're going to avoid the dread via sleep. So I don't know, but either way, it's hard to do things when I'm so tired, and I'm feeling very tired. But if I can actually make myself do it, I think I can actually finish the scene today. Will I be able to actually make myself do it? That is another question. Okay, it's later. I have added about 100 words to the scene, and I'm struggling. I really want to finish this tonight. It was my goal, and it would be nice to meet a goal, any goal, a small goal. I never meet my goals when it comes to writing. And today I set out the goal to finish scene 29. So I want to finish scene 29 before I go to bed. But I'm getting so tired. And I'm still not 100% sure what precisely needs to happen here at the end of this scene, which is a problem. The scene is done. It is, in total, 4,454 words long. So I did end up almost doubling the length of that scene, so it's now an extremely long scene, probably 2 scenes, but still. When I was working to transition the setting into the new setting, mostly what I was doing last week, I ended up deleting almost 800 words, even over 800 words, which means I added just a heck ton of words to this scene, which is good. I do feel like the ending of the scene could be punchier than it is now, but I don't really know what that would be. I don't even really know if the events of this scene are the proper events that the story needs, but the story, or the scene, is now done for draft 2, which is good. I do think that this scene needs foreshadowing. It seems like a good place in the story for nice, heavy foreshadowing, but I don't know what that would be yet because I don't have the 3rd act written yet. So I couldn't add the foreshadowing, but I put a note in the margin to add foreshadowing later because I feel like this scene is rife for the foreshadowing, but it just doesn't have it yet. But other than that, scene 29 is now done for draft 2. I do still need to write the connective tissue between scene 29 and scene 30 because that doesn't exist yet, but that will be a task for tomorrow because I'm very tired and I need to go to bed. I am feeling kind of good, and I can't really tell. I don't think I'm feeling good about the actual writing, because much of writing this scene today was pulling teeth, but I still feel kind of good, and it could be that I'm just feeling good because I set a goal for the day, and then I hit that goal, and I never do that, and that does feel good. I'm feeling a little bit happy, proud of myself. Even if the scene doesn't end up being good, even if I come back to the scene in draft 3 and I'm like, oh dear, this is terrible, that could happen. But for now, in this tiny moment, I'm feeling kind of good about what I did today. So it is the next day. I've had kind of a slow start to the day, partially because, I don't know, yesterday was a lot, but I have watched a couple of YouTube videos so far this morning, which isn't really my goal, but I can't be perfect. When I set my goal to perfection, I'm always disappointed. So, someone is mowing outside. I don't know if you can hear that. So I haven't yet started on the connective tissue between scenes 29 and scene 30, but I do have kind of a wild plan for today. I think I can do, I don't actually know, but I think my goal is to do scenes 30, 31, and 32 today. And the reason I think I can do that is because in my memory, the scenes that are on the outline are written, at least in some form. There's no connective tissue between them, so I will have to add all of that connective tissue today, which might be, not realistic. But I keep thinking, if those scenes actually are written as they are in my memory, then maybe I can do scenes 30, 31, and 32 today. That would be huge, and I hope I can do that. I won't know for sure until I actually read through the scenes, which I'm not going to do until I'm about to tackle them because I don't want to get pre-overwhelmed. So I'm going to write the connective tissue between scenes 29 and scene 30, read scene 30, and then I'll get an idea for at least for scene 30. I'm going to take it scene by scene. I'm not going to read all of them at once because I don't want to get pre-overwhelmed. But unless one of the scenes or all of the scenes need a whole bunch of things rewritten or like written new from scratch, which for some reason in my memory, that's not the case. But if that ends up being the case, then I might not be able to do all 3 scenes today, but it's possible. And for some reason, that is still kind of my wild little dream, hope, goal for the day. Because in the outline, scenes 33 and 34 have to be written entirely new from scratch. They don't exist at all yet. So I will not be reaching those today, but maybe I can do scenes 30, 31, 32. I mean, it's not boding particularly well because I have had a slow start to the day and I was watching YouTube videos and I haven't even started the connective tissue between scenes 29 and scene 30. But still, that's what we're gonna try to go for today. Okay, so it is a little over an hour later, and I have not yet started writing at all. But I have been researching and brainstorming for books 2 plus of this series for the Magical Mystery, which is really good because during the entire first draft and the first iteration of draft 2, I had not a singular thought about what the future of this series might hold. And then over the last couple of months, when I've been working on draft 2 again, I've started getting some ideas for what the future of the series could be, and I'm starting to kind of solidify them into potential plots for the future books. And that feels just really good and hopeful and satisfying because even though I don't have anything close to a full plot for any of the books or an outline, heaven forbid, but I do have fairly solid-ish thoughts for what the future books could hold / be structured around. So that feels really good, and it also feels like a good use of time. So even though I haven't been writing yet on my very ambitious goal for the day, I have been doing something productive, so that's good. I really need to begin at least writing the connective tissue between scenes 29 and scene 30. I can't get stuck on that or else I'll just be stuck all day. Okay, I finally just finished adding the connective tissue. It took longer than I had hoped. I added 521 words of connective tissue, and I bridged it right to the beginning of the scene 30. So now I'm getting ready to read through scene 30 to see, hopefully, what kind of minor problems it might have. I mean, I might find, half the scene is missing. I still don't know. My connective tissue, the writing felt worse even than the writing I was doing yesterday. And I'm not sure what that's about. I'm feeling so much resistance today, and I don't know if that's just because yesterday was a good writing day, or I'm afraid that I won't be able to get these 3 scenes done if it turns out that they need a ton of work, or I don't know what, but the writing felt bad. It wasn't good. It definitely wasn't good. Interestingly, I have not been listening to music at all today or yesterday in this big writing bout that I've been doing. If you've been watching at all, you know I have a fraught relationship with music. But the TLDR version is listening to music tends to make me feel really creative, but for a long, long time, nothing would come from that creative feeling. I couldn't write at all, and what I would write was terrible. So I literally just stopped listening to music for half a year or something. And I've slowly kind of started doing it again, but it's been probably many weeks now since I've listened to music, and I'm afraid still to do it again. So I haven't even been trying, and music has not been a part of this writing phase at all. So I'm not sure what that's about. Okay, so I just finished reading through the scenes. The good news is that there was connective tissue already between scenes 30 and 31 and 31 and 32, so I was able to read just straight through all 3 scenes. The first bit of bad news is that all 3 of these scenes clearly came earlier in the story at one point, and so when I put them here, the tone and the character relationships are kind of off compared to what they should be, perhaps, compared to what they were in the previous couple of scenes that I've been working on. So they feel kind of off now, and as I was reading, I was trying to smooth that a little, but I also think I won't truly be able to fix it until a future pacing draft or a tone draft, because I'm not 100% sure what the tone is supposed to be being in all of the scenes, and so I know it's really inconsistent throughout the story. So there's that, and then also, I'm not sure. It's possible that these scenes work right here, but also maybe I want them earlier in the story. I mean, maybe not. I don't know, and so I did kind of try to tweak them a little bit so that they make more sense at this point in the story, but I was really hesitant because I'm not sure, like, when I do my read-through of the entire story before I begin draft 3, whenever I finish draft 2, I might decide that I do want these 3 scenes earlier in the story, even though the way the story is now, that might not make sense. They might actually need to be here, and maybe they would then need to be tweaked even more to, like, make sense at this point in the story, although maybe they make sense now and I just don't know. I don't know. So I was doing some reading and some tweaking, and like I was trying to fix at least a little bit the character relationships to make them more consistent with what the story is now, based on what they would have been had these scenes happened way at the beginning of the story. So I did do that, but I don't know how I feel about it, and I wasn't going like all the way, so like, I don't know. The next bit of bad news is that scene 32, so the final of the 3 scenes, ends in the middle abruptly. So like there's part of the scene that still needs to be written. So I will need to be working on that because it needs to just be written new from scratch. It just doesn't exist right now. So I mean, technically, I sort of finished scene 30 and 31 for draft 2. I mean, I think when I finish scene 33, I will go back through and like reread them, but I don't really know what other changes I could make because A, I don't know if I'll decide later to move these scenes back up earlier in the story, and B, I'm not really sure what the tone is supposed to be at this moment in the story, so like I didn't want to make too many changes. I don't know. But it is possible that I'm currently done with scenes 30 and 31, and I'm still just working on scenes 32. I don't know yet, I haven't decided, but that's where we are. Okay, so it is many hours later. I have not worked on the story at all. So I went outside. I did walk 2 miles on the treadmill, which is good. I was watching some YouTube videos that don't have anything to do with writing. And then I made dinner and I ate dinner and I watched some more YouTube videos that don't have anything to do with writing. And now I really need to get back to writing if I'm going to finish these 3 scenes by the end of today. Part of the problem that I'm having with these scenes, I'm having many problems. One of them is the events of this scene. Like, there is a cause, and then the events happen for these 3 scenes. And it's just happening because the story needs it to happen. There's no good organic cause. The characters aren't really making the events happen. I mean, there's like a small reason why the events are happening that's presented, but it's very weak. It's just like luck or happenstance, or like it's really just happening because the story needs it to happen. Like, the characters are like, I need to know this. Oh, look, lucky us, it's happening. There's just no good reason. And I don't know how much luck is really acceptable in a story as causes for things. Probably none. And so I'm just feeling stressed about it because I know that the events of the scene and the cause presented in these scenes is very weak. It's just happening because the story needs it to happen. And I don't have a singular clue on how to fix it right now. Like, I honestly have no idea what the characters could do to make these things happen. They just need to happen. I don't know. And like, I started thinking maybe if these scenes came earlier in the story where they originally were, because they clearly came much earlier in the story, then it would be easier. Although maybe not. I mean, I honestly just have no idea how to make these scenes organically happen. I don't know. But I'm not gonna know until I'm working on a pacing draft. Like, right now I'm just very much focused on the trees and not the forest. I just need to write the scenes. I need to finish draft 2, and then when I'm finished with draft 2, I can read the entire thing and like get a feel for all the places in the story where the story is wrong and poorly placed. So I know that's what I need to do, and so I just need to keep moving forward. I need to mark these scenes done for draft 2 and just keep moving until I finish draft 2. But I'm getting stressed because part of me was thinking like, maybe these 3 scenes should come earlier, and like maybe that's what I'll end up doing, but I don't want to do it now because I don't actually know if that's right, and like it would mess everything up for draft 2, and it would just make the draft take so much longer. And so really, I don't need to be worrying about that right now. I just need to finish draft 2. That's really all I need to do. And in order to do that, I need to finish these 3 scenes. And so like, I should be feeling good that I have written written 2 scenes for today. Scenes 30 and 31 are done for draft 2. I need to finish writing scene 32, and then that will be done for draft 2, and then I'll have done 3 scenes in one day. But I didn't really do a whole lot to them. I tried to make the tone and character relationships more consistent with what they are in the story now. But I was still even really hesitant with that because I don't know, maybe these scenes should go earlier in the story, and I just don't know. And I'm having a hard time, so I've been putting it off, and I don't feel good about anything that I've done today. So that's where we are. Alright, it's much later at night. I'm gonna get ready for bed. I like how my mascara gets further and further down my cheeks the later these videos go. But I did end up finishing scene 32, and I actually like scene 32 more than scene 31 or scene 30. But I'm not feeling good overall, partly because I'm a little bit worried that not only are these scenes potentially in the wrong space in the story, but also, like, the next 5 scenes, because they're all connected, could be needing to happen, like, way earlier in the story, but I don't even know if that would make sense, and, like, maybe I'm just feeling that way because something that I've been doing in this iteration of Draft 2 is trying to make time pass in the connective tissue, because theoretically the story is supposed to happen over, like, 9 months, and it definitely wasn't taking that long in the first draft because no time was passing. But now I've started worrying maybe I've made too much time pass because these events that I've just reached in these scenes feel like they need to be happening at the beginning of the story, and it doesn't make any sense. But I know it's not gonna make sense until I can get a bird's eye view of the story, and I won't be able to get a bird's eye view of the story until the story is completely written. So I'm trying not to worry about it now, even though definitely scenes 30 and 31 don't feel right, and I can't tell if it's because they're in the wrong place in the story or not. And I know that the cause for the scene is so weak and poor, and I'm not feeling great. But at least they're done. I mean, I did set out to to finish these 3 scenes for the day, and I did finish these 3 scenes for draft 2. They're gonna need work in future drafts, but I mean, that's what future drafts are for, so I don't know. I'm trying not to feel too overwhelmed by it, but I am feeling a little bit overwhelmed because I just felt like, I guess I've been coming into it hoping that everything would feel perfect and right, even though that's unrealistic. Especially for draft 2. I mean, there will be more drafts, and I just can't fix all of the problems in draft 2, especially because the purpose of this draft is to just make the story exist. I'm not even trying to make it good yet. I'm just trying to make it happen on the page. So I don't know, but that's where we are. Also, I did not write the connective tissue between scenes 32 and scene 33 because scene 33 will have to be written entirely new from scratch, so I feel like I can tackle the connective tissue when I'm tackling that scene, but I did write a little bit of a note of what could potentially happen in the connective tissue, so I guess that's something. Also, I know it seems like absurd to still be struggling so much with scene order, at this point in the drafting process, and it is absurd. It seems that way to me too, and I feel like this must have happened because my first draft was me writing the world and not really a story, and I didn't even really realize I was just writing the world, and so somehow, I mean, I guess it makes sense that those scenes of the world could be in any order, because why not? They're just the world. And so I'm trying to write this story now on top of the world. I don't know if that makes sense, but so when I come across these scenes that I pulled really heavily from draft 1, and they're really just heavily world scenes, they feel like they could be anywhere. I think that's part of the problem. So I'm hoping when I finish draft 2 and I get a bird's eye view of the story by reading it all in one go, I'll be able to get a better feeling of what these scenes need to feel like they're in the right place in the story and not like they could just be anywhere. And for some reason, they all want to be happening at the very start of the story. That doesn't make any sense. And yet somehow that's the feeling I'm getting when I encounter these scenes. And it's not a good feeling. It's an overwhelming feeling, but I'm just gonna have to put a lot of faith in future me. I tend to do that, and for no good reason. That's probably why things take me forever to get done. But still. Please like and subscribe. Also, I do offer fiction editing on Fiverr, anything from short stories or single chapters to whole novels. If anybody has a story out there that they'd like for me to look at, please check out the link in the description box below. Thank you.